Chuck Presley was a man with a dark, terrible secret. A man who had spent most of his life running from it, suppressing it in his mind and in his memory, so that even if his thoughts drifted to that terrible day, it was more like watching a movie about someone else's life. He had forgiven himself, and that was all that mattered. Chuck tried to ignore the soft thumping from inside the trunk of his 1957 Chevy Bel Air. After all, scoring an original, mint, two-tone blue Bel Air felt like winning the lottery. It was the rules that came with the car that worried him. And of course, the sounds from the trunk.
"Yeah, I'll sell her to you,"
the grizzled old farmer had said.
"Lots of memories in that girl, but ever since my wife died, I don't need that daily reminder of her. We had our first date in that car, you know."
Chuck had gone to the farm ready to buy. When the old farmer had asked only $30,000, Chuck had immediately whipped out his checkbook. He almost felt guilty about the price and the condition. Almost. Now, as he hummed down the highway in her, he considered the rules that the farmer had given him.
"4 simple rules, son. I won't let her go unless you vow you'll keep the rules to the letter."
Of course he had promised, and only when he had heard them had he felt a little weird.
"Number 1, keep that oil change regular, son. And I mean every 3,000 miles. She's an old engine, but if you oil her up right, she won't fail you. 2, clean and wax her every Sunday, inside and out. Don't miss a single week or she'll fuss. Number 3, rotate those tires every time you change the oil. They're the original stock tires, and if you rotate them, they'll last you forever. Don't ask how. And the 4th and most important rule, and you listen carefully, son, don't you ever, for any reason, open the trunk. Don't ask why and don't get curious. Just put it out of your mind. Do not open that trunk ever. Not if your life depends on it. Understand?"
Now, as Chuck zoomed down the rural highway, the Chevy responding to his every input like a lover, he couldn't help but wonder about the sounds from the trunk. His first thought was that the farmer had put someone in there and was trying to dispose of them. But if there were a person in the trunk, wouldn't they be calling out and beating on the metal? It was only a soft thumping. Not the sounds of a hostage, but of something just shifting around. No, nothing was alive in there. He shook his head to clear his mind. He had promised to obey the rules, and most of them made sense except for the tires lasting forever. Rubber wore down, didn't it? Wasn't that simple physics? How could tires have lasted since 1957 and still look new with plenty of thick tread? The trunk thumped again, but this time it sounded like something was sliding around in there from side to side, slamming each side as Chuck turned or changed lanes. He made it home safely and parked it under his carport. That night he woke up in the middle of a dream and thought it was morning because his room was lit up. But he soon realized there was just a single bright beam of light shining through the second-story bedroom window. He yawned, stood up, and looked out. Down below, the Chevy's headlights were on high and shining right up into his bedroom. "What the hell?" he muttered. "How were the headlights angled up? They didn't do that. Was someone trying to steal it?" The engine roared awake, and that was all he needed to hear. He put on his robe and raced downstairs and out the door. He threw the door open, and now the headlights were shining right onto him. The engine revved 3 times. Chuck squinted and shielded his eyes to try to see who was in the car. Whoever it was, he was going to stop this theft right here and now. With the grimace and anger of a man wronged, he ran to the driver's side window, ready to yell at the thief. He peered inside, and the car was empty. "What the hell?" he cried. He looked around for a fleeing thief, but no one was near. The car's door clicked unlocked and slowly opened to Chuck. The radio turned on. It was playing In the Still of the Night by the Five Satins. Something about that song triggered a memory. Something ancient and distant, something as if from another life. He saw himself and his high school sweetheart Marilyn sitting in his own Bel Air, the one he had driven as a kid, by the lake on a soft summer night. She was the only girl he had ever loved, and he had remained single his entire life because of her. Yeah, that was the song that he had been playing that night. He could almost feel her soft yellow sweater again, almost feel the warmth of her arms as she'd slid them around his varsity letterman's football jacket. Her red, poodle-cut hair had brushed his cheek. The engine revved again, and Chuck just understood that the car wanted him to slide in and take it on a drive. He couldn't explain how the car was running, how the radio had turned on by itself and the door opened, but he just wanted to slip in and take a drive, return to the memories of his youth for even just an hour. He stepped into the driver's seat and the door closed itself. The night air was chilly, but the Chevy's heater was already on and toasty. He backed out of the driveway, shifted into drive, and started down the rural, winding highway that led from his house towards town. He looked at the empty passenger seat with a forlorn glance. More memories were returning now. He could almost see Marilyn sitting there like she had so long ago, before she had left him. He felt tears trickle down his cheek. Damn, he missed her. You can't live in the past, his friends always told him, but the present held nothing for him. He just couldn't get past Marilyn. The thumping started again in the trunk. It began softly as before, but the longer he drove down the highway, the louder it became until it sounded out rhythmically and frantically, a slamming and pounding. Now it did sound like something living trying to get out. He had to know. How could he keep enjoying the car if the trunk pounded with every mile? What the hell had that old farmer done in there? He slowed at the turnoff to the lake, the same lake where he had taken Marilyn. Part of him considered just turning around and going back to sleep, not trying to relive the ghost of memories. But the lake called to him, and the Bel Air pulled towards the turnoff as if it were urging him as well. He turned and drove up the lane to the lake. The glassy surface reflected pale, silver moonlight, and the line of pine trees on the other side looked just as cozy as they had that night long ago. Had he even been back to the lake after Marilyn had departed? He supposed not. He pulled up near the shore and put the Chevy in park. The radio was looping the song over and over, but he was just fine with that. He closed his eyes for a moment to remember the last time he had brought Marilyn to the lake, after they'd been dating a year and he'd made plans to marry after graduation and start a family. What's wrong, baby?
Chuck, nothing. Well, gosh, I don't know what to say.
She's acting nervous. Has been the entire night. Dinner, at the movies, and now. I can tell something's wrong. He brushes her hair back behind her ear in the way that she always loved, but this time she winces and pulls back a little. Baby? Come on, what's wrong? Marilyn looks at him, and in her brown eyes he sees sadness and regret. But more than that, he no longer sees that fire in her eyes, the flame that has always burned for him.
I need to tell you something, Chuck, she whispers. I'm so sorry.
He hears it in her tone, and he knows. He already knows what she's going to say. His stomach fills with the icy pangs of hurt and jealousy. You didn't.
I'm so sorry. It's Johnny. Chuck, we didn't mean for it to happen. Well, you're a nice guy. We've had great fun together, but Johnny, he's so nice and sweet. He wants us to...
Did you kiss him? Chuck howls.
Did you do it?
She has no need to answer. She just looks down, and he knows. He feels nauseated and dizzy. The world around him smears and fades, and he's overcome with the piercing sting of jealousy and the raging lust for justice. The memory was broken by terrified pounding from inside the trunk. He snapped his head up and realized that he was back in the present, that all the pain of that night had been dead for decades. There was no need to resurrect ghosts. For now, he was fed up with the farmer's stupid rules. He refused to drive around with something back there. He grunted and stepped out of the car, walking around to the back with an annoyed sigh. When he reached the trunk, the pounding quickly stopped. He inserted the key, turned the lock, and opened the trunk. Because it was night, he only saw some white shape at first. And when he realized it was a human body, he screamed and jumped back. But he quickly understood that they must have been alive since they had been pounding. The farmer was a kidnapper or trafficker after all. Oh God, are you all right? I'm so sorry, I didn't know someone was in the trunk. A cloud moved past the moon, and the pale light illuminated the inside. He could see that it was a woman and that she was wearing blue jeans and a yellow sweater. It looked so familiar. The woman began to climb out of the trunk, and as soon as he saw the red, poodle-cut hair, he knew what was happening. The rest of the memories gushed into his mind. He stumbled backwards and fell onto his butt in the grass. There stood Marilyn, just the same as that night, that fateful night when she had broken his heart. He fell backwards again, not onto the ground, but through time, back to those blissful and tragic moments of high school, of his youth, of the night that had changed him and his life forever. He could see the lake through her, right through the soft, white glow emanating from her spirit. He melted inside and wanted nothing more than to be with her again, back in high school, right back in the front seat of that 1957 Chevy Bel Air. She reached out her ghostly arm to point at him, and he understood then that she did not want a lover's reunion. No, she was accusing him. Her voice sounded quivering and wet.
Don't you remember, Chuck? The night here at the lake. You got so angry.
He shook and curled up into a fetal position. He stuttered. You kissed Johnny. You broke my heart.
I broke your heart, but you broke my life. You ended me, Chuck. You hit my head with a tire iron, but you didn't kill me. Oh, no. You thought you did, but you didn't. You threw me in the trunk, pushed the car right into the lake. Do you know, I woke up and saw the water leaking in. I knew what was happening. I saw the water filling the trunk. Oh, I held my breath as long as I could, but my lungs sucked in the cold water. It hurt so bad. The car's still down there, you know. And so am I.
Now he remembered. This was the dark secret that he had spent his life running from. He had killed her, killed the one love of his life, Marilyn, disposed of her body in the car. I didn't know. I lost my temper. God, I'm so sorry. She hovered towards him, and with each step, droplets of lake water fell from her glowing phantom jeans and sweater. She croaked, You can't run from the past forever, Chuck.